Hello, I'm Robin. Welcome to Bookspin. The Burning of the Brain is one of Cordwainer Smith's shorter stories. In the edition that I read, it's only 8 pages long. But it's a very poignant tale with a couple of quite memorable characters. It was first published in Worlds of If, October 1958. And this story tells the tale of the legendary space captain Magno Taliano and his final faster-than-light voyage in interstellar space. Like a lot of Smith's stories, it's narrated in a somewhat fable-like style. We learn that Magno Taliano is one of the most famous spacefarers of all time, alongside the likes of Helen America and Mr. Grey No More from The Lady Who Sailed the Soul. He's incredibly brave and incredibly talented at what he does. And his wife, whose name is Dolores O, is an equally famous or notable personality. She was remarkably beautiful in her youth, and their romance became legendary. But all that beauty of hers is now lost. Dolores is a very proud woman, and she's really paranoid that people only really valued her for her looks, and so she decided to refuse the rejuvenescence treatments that are ordinarily taken by people in this society while they are aging. That's kind of suggested in the story. People have really long lifespans at this point in the future history. So she has aged physically like 200 years or something like that, while most other people in this society retain their youthful appearance. Now, her reasoning might sound fair enough on the face of it, but she actually comes across as incredibly paranoid and emotionally insecure in the story. But despite all of this, Magno still loves her deeply. So that's the captain and his wife, and they're a bit of an odd couple. But then, after we're introduced to these two characters and the captain's niece, Dita, we get straight into the action. A catastrophe unfolds when the ship encounters a malfunction, which basically causes the loss of all of the lock sheets on board, including the emergency return sheet. Now, I think by lock sheets, Smith is referring to some kind of navigation charts, right? In any case, whatever's happened, the consequence is disastrous. They are now stranded in interstellar space with nowhere to go. The whole ship is doomed, basically. Is there any way out of this? Well, I'm going to go ahead and describe what happens. This is such a short story, I think it's kind of hard to discuss without mentioning how the plot is resolved, but it is a bit of a spoiler. I don't think it really matters too much, as I'll explain in a minute, but if you want to read the story and rather not know how it's resolved, you can stop watching now. So, turns out hope is not completely lost. One of the navigators, who is a telepath, as is necessary for captain and crew, he probes the captain's mind and observes that within his paleocortex lies his knowledge of the star cluster that they are now stuck in. It is possible to uncover this buried memory and so navigate the ship safely back home. But the only way of doing this is by burning out his paleocortex. So Captain Magno decides to go ahead with this. It's basically their only option of saving the day. And hence the title of the story, The Burning of the Brain. And that's why I don't really think of it as a major spoiler, because it's in the title. Anyway, this is, of course, a very noble act of self-sacrifice and quite a fitting end to such a heroic individual. But it doesn't actually kill him. What happens is, when they burn out his paleocortex, I'm going to quote what happens in the story. It says that he becomes, quote, intellectually sane but emotionally crazed. With the most ancient part of the brain gone, the fundamental controls of hostility, hunger, and sex disappeared. So, that is the captain's fate. And in doing so, not only does he save everyone on board the ship, but somehow in the process, his niece inherits all of his skills and knowledge via telepathic transfer. Thus, it's suggested that she will become his successor. So that is The Burning of the Brain. It's an interesting little story. There's not a lot of depth to it, but it is an intriguing premise and an interesting idea. Not only does the captain act with honour and sacrifice in the line of duty, but he also seems to be a genuinely loving person, as we can see by how he loves his wife without any resentment for her flaws, and seemingly passes on his legacy as a final gift to his niece. It makes you wonder just how he's been transformed after this episode, how much of his original persona survives. We don't actually learn much, aside from that quote which I just read. So it's quite a thought-provoking little piece. So I enjoyed it. It's worth checking out.